Brock Purdy is a force to be reckoned with, and now he's solidified that status with his last match. The 49ers' wildcard playoff win over the Seahawks was a shock to many, but not to Brock fans. They knew he was the man of the hour and he wasn't going to let them down. Now they're off gloating on the internet about how right they were. But how did the young player get here? Watch this video to find out. First up, the eye of the tiger. This isn't the first time Brock was put under pressure. As a pro athlete, he's used to the scrutiny and hopes of the fans. But being on the road and managing is no easy feat, even for him. All eyes were on him since he became the new starter for the 49ers. The division title was on the line, but the game was on the road already. The players were exhausted, and when things went into overtime, it seemed like it was game over for the boys. But Purdy wasn't done yet. Was he going to break or use the pressure to deliver a stellar game? You best believe it was the latter. Not going to lie, he had us in the first half. It was ugly. He had inaccurate throws, missed open receivers, and bailed out of clean pockets way too early. He looked like a rookie, but anyone who follows him knows he's anything but. He came into the second half with his head held high. This boosted the morale of the team and eventually led to their 41-23 victory. Doesn't look like Mr. Irrelevant to us now. Don't you agree? The man has passed every NFL test through at him, and he's still going strong. Just goes to prove that when you put pressure on things, they mostly break, but sometimes they make diamonds. Next up, get set, go. Halftime was a blessing for Purdy. It gave him time to think over the game and the team's failures. They came out with a new strategy and confidence that took the Seahawks by surprise, and that surprise was enough to win the match. Even though it was raining off and on in the match, the 49ers managed to pull through. He was the player that we've been seeing ever since their match against Miami, calm and destructive. He credits his weak first half to the nerves of the match. For them and for the fans, it was big or go home, and no one wanted to go home. But by the second half, he realized it was just like any other game. That's when he got calm and focused on his mission. He had to get the ball to the guys when they were in the right position. That was it. The rest would happen from there. The singularity of his thought made him lethal. It was a simple job, and he wasn't going to let it get to his head. And the results are in front of you. Are there any Brock Purdy deniers here? Please show us how you counter that in the chat. The thing that sets him apart is that he doesn't shy away when the going gets rough. His toughness inspires the rest of the team too. He doesn't act like a rookie, and it shows. The shift in the mentality of the team is obvious. They rave about him for a reason. Up next, started from the bottom, now we're here. It wasn't always like that though. Being the last pick of the draft made him Mr. Irrelevant, and that was a stain he was dying to get out, but it wasn't easy. He scored his first touchdown in a very run-of-the-mill way. There was nothing spectacular about it, but it was still the first highlight reel of his career. That moment changed everything for him. He was the first irrelevant quarterback to throw a touchdown. Not many Mr. Irrelevants ever lived down their title, but he knew if he could do this, he could do anything. Even though he was picked 262nd overall, it wasn't going to slow him down. It just proves that a lot of time history repeats itself, but only once in a while is history made. Kudos to you, kid. Here's going to up and up. Coming up, bet on it. This isn't the only time he's proven himself to be worthy of being a quarterback, though. Time and time again, he's passed the tests thrown at him with flying colors. As Fred Warner points out, he's the kind of guy you can depend on. In a game against the mighty Dolphins, when Jimmy Garoppolo gets pulled out, he's the guy that gets thrown in the middle of the chaos. He's the guy they trust because he's the guy that wins. Warner knew that he was a star because he proved himself over and over again. So the win against the Seahawks is hardly a surprise to him. Warner told us that betting against the man is very dangerous indeed. Now, do we want to point out that the skepticism around him isn't because of his performance, but the way the team is managed? He's the third quarterback the team has started this season, and before he came to the rescue, everything was all over the place. Garoppolo left the field because of a foot injury, and Kyle Shanahan decided to put Purdy in for a change. What he didn't expect is for the team to do so well under him. Right now they have a 5-0 record. But what happens now? Kyle says Garoppolo might return late in the postseason, but for that to happen, the 49ers will have to make the championship weekend at the very least. Will Purdy go back to the bench, or is it time for the veteran to move on? We'll go in depth into what we think in the next section. Not to mention head-to-head. Changing the center mid-season is uncommon, but not unheard of, especially when you have a veteran on the other side. But will San Francisco take the gamble? Who gives the team a better chance to win? Let's find out. When you compare the stats from the two players, they're neck to neck. Both of them had 5-win streaks, so that point doesn't go in the favor of either one of them. Their intended air yards were just 0.1 yards apart, so even that is too close to call. Except one is a veteran, and one player just got thrown into the mix in the middle of the game and still performed. Do you see the point we're trying to make here? The big questions are always who opens the field more and who has more of a chance to win. The fact is, there's no clear answer to that. It's just a guessing game at this point. Garoppolo completed 8 of 28 passes of 20-plus yards, with a touchdown and an interception as well. Purdy, on the other hand, completed 5 of 13 for 4 touchdowns and 1 pick. 3 of those passes were on the left side of the field, so he clearly has a favorite side. All of this still makes the results very inconclusive. We mean, Garoppolo clearly has experience, but should we store away young talent instead of allowing it to display itself? That's the big question, and the answer is not so simple. So we continue our search for the ultimate quarterback. Also, time to shine. Both players have different strengths, though. It's all a matter of whose strengths benefit the team the most. The intermediate game is where Purdy really shines. He has 31 of 39 passes in the 10 to 19-yard range, with 2 interceptions and 3 touchdowns, while Jimmy was 37 of 59 with 7 touchdowns and 2 picks. Again, what you want the stats to mean depends entirely on you. But one thing is for sure, Brock has no experience with the playoffs. Even though he's handled the pressure well so far, we have no idea if he'll cave in the future. Jimmy's experience gives him reliability that Purdy doesn't have. Garoppolo has a 5-2 record in the playoffs. Not too shabby, mate. He's only lost the Super Bowl in the 2019 season and the NFC Championship game last year. That's it. Still, there are cries for a turnover because of his unusually low performance this season. He only had 6 interceptions to 4 touchdowns in 7 starts. On top of that, he only completed 60% of his passes. That doesn't sound like good news. Still, is that reason enough to replace him? Everyone has ups and downs. Has he used up all of his tries with San Francisco, or is this just a blip in his career? Kyle Shanahan is the only one who knows. What he chooses to do will make or break the team, and he knows it. That's why he's so tight-lipped about the future of the 49ers. Before we reveal our guess, type out your answers in the chat. Place your bet, folks. Lastly, what's the verdict, Chief? Complicated questions require complicated answers. As much as we wanted to give you a sure-shot answer, we can't. Sorry, folks. The real answer is, it depends. If Purdy makes mistakes in the divisional game, Garoppolo is in. But that is a big if. So far, we've only seen him make a couple of stumbles, but come back swinging. If he continues being efficient, he's likely to keep playing. He could be a 7-0 starter. Now, the next question is, who will play in the Super Bowl? If Brock gets the team there, it's extremely unlikely they'll cut him out. It's a unique situation where you have 2 really good quarterbacks with comparable stats fighting to be in the team. Usually, you're lucky to get even one. Again, the only thing Jimmy has on his side is experience. But if we take his horrible postseason numbers, the case for Purdy gets stronger. The only indicator we have is Shanahan's words. He did say that the veteran would come back. But had he accounted for the success of the newcomer at the time? We don't think so, to be honest. Regardless, the choice seems impossible. And for once, we don't envy Kyle. The only truth is that the 49ers are a great team anyway. Kyle has coached them brilliantly, and it shows. They've made their mark and told their opponents that they have their eyes on the prize. Whoever plays in the end, we know San Francisco is going to be marvelous. That's it for today's video. Who do you want as the quarterback? Let us know in the comments down below. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back soon with another video.